Hey, Mark Allen here. Thanks for watching this video. And I wanted to talk to you today about an artist that you may or may not have heard of, comic book artist. His name is Sergio Cariello. Sergio has done a lot of work over the years for DC Comics, done some work for Marvel. A couple of things you may know him for. He kind of revamped Deathstroke for, I don't know the dates on these, and I'm not going to take the time to look on Wikipedia, but he revamped Deathstroke for DC Comics and did a Deathstroke miniseries called Deathstroke the Hunted. I think that was 12 issues. You may know him also for several years ago, his comic book series for Dynamite Comics, The Lone Ranger. And so kind of updated that hero's legend and everything for comic books. But Sergio was born in Brazil and lives now in Florida, I believe. But has become big, in comic books, in certain realms of comic books. I will say that he knew early on in his life that he wanted to be a comic book artist. He knew from about 5 years old, I believe, and he at the age of 11, he started doing a comic strip for his local newspaper, hometown newspaper. They started publishing his comic strip and did that for until he was 14 years old. So Frederico the Detective, I believe that was called. But anyway, Sergio Cariello he was accepted into a Bible college there in Brazil, and then went from there to the Joe Kubert School of Art. He even taught for 7 years at the Joe Kubert School of Art, I believe, and some of this information, the minute details, subject to my mistaken memory. But anyway, he went to Joe Kubert's School of Art and taught there for a while. Did his first comic book work, professional comic book work. I forget which company now, but it was a Lovecraft book, Worlds of J.P. Lovecraft book. But then he was hired for Marvel and then went on to DC. Now he largely does Bible-based and creator-owned stuff. Sergio is a man of faith, a follower of Jesus Christ, which I am as well, so I connect with that. But one of the work that probably has gotten him the most international name recognition is this work right here, the Action Bible. This is, of course, exactly what it looks like and what it sounds like. It is a graphic novel representation of the Bible, the Bible in graphic novel form. Now, Sergio, in my estimation, has a couple of different styles. He has one that's more based in realism, and that's what the Lone Ranger was done in. It's what this story, what the Action Bible was done in. A little more grounded in reality, very dramatic, and just lots of fun to look at, lots of fun to read and enjoy, and very colorful and really attractive work here. But then there's this book also has, it's put out by David C. Cook, and there are Bible study guides to go along with this, and other independent or other things have spun off. Other Bible related material has spun off of this work. But my 12-year-old son, has this, and he has at least one Bible study book done by Cariello. And so this is a David C. Cook book, available at Mardell bookstore, Christian bookstore, Lifeway Christian bookstore. Any Christian bookstore probably has it or can get it. Amazon, eBay, the usual places that you would get it. And then, but here's the thing: my favorite property, my favorite work of Sergio's is actually a digest series put out by Zondervan several years ago. 8 volumes of this digest series called Son of Samson. And it's about a young man named Brennan. That's him on the cover there. A young man named Brennan who is the son of Samson, the judge, the Israelite judge. And it's obviously biblical fiction. It's biblically based fiction. What if Samson had a son? And he has all kinds of adventures, runs afoul of the Philistines as his father did, and it's just a lot of good fun reading. Now, reason why I say Sergio, I believe Sergio I see 2 different styles. The one that he used in the Action Bible, as well as the Lone Ranger series for Dynamite, that's more dramatic, more reality based. This one is slightly more, and I don't want to use the word cartoony. I think it's overused, but let me find a good representation here. But it's a little less based in reality. Physical, characteristics are a little more exaggerated. Things do look a little more cartoony and a little more fictional. It always reminded me, his style for these Son of Samson books always reminded me as something like a cross between the work of John Buscema and Joe Staton. And so that's just the best way I know how to explain it for me. But as we know, this is all subject to individual eyes. It's art, so it's subjective. But Son of Samson, those are fun reads. You don't have to have a faith in. It doesn't matter what you think about the Bible. It doesn't matter what you think about Christianity for you to enjoy these adventures. But there's one other reason why this one holds this character holds a special interest to me is he is my favorite one that Sergio has done and created. But he's also the subject of a personal commissioned sketch that I had Sergio do for me, which let me just say, artists get beat up by fans a lot because of what they charge for sketches. I understand, because it took me basically the idea for the sketch I had, and I'm going to show it to you in a moment. The idea for the sketch I had, it took me about 7 years, I think, to finally get it on paper, 6 or 7 years. And because of the cost, I had to sell. I didn't take it out of our personal account. I had to sell comic books on eBay and get enough PayPal money built up so that I could get it. As it was still a bargain, I believe. But artists get beat up for what they charge for sketches. Now, some artists may be high, some artists may be low. However, an artist is still a person trying to make a living for themselves and their family. And if they start giving everybody a cut rate for sketches, even if they're nice guys like Sergio is, all their time can be taken up doing work for, and I'm just going to use the term chicken feed, for money that won't pay for the needs of their family, instead of doing the work they've been hired to do. So I'm an advocate for artists, charging what's commensurate for their work, because all the work they do for fans takes away from the work they do for companies, and that's the more steady work that they're going to find. So anyway, that's just my opinion. But anyway, I had the idea for a sketch that I wanted, and it was a 2-figure sketch, which was another reason why it was more expensive. I wanted a sketch with Brennan laying the smack down on Thor, the god of thunder, with the whole representation of Brennan representing, the one true God, and Thor being, the pagan god of thunder, that god, the Viking god, Asgardian. And so I had an idea in my head of what I wanted for years, and it involved 2 things. It involved Brennan having Thor in a headlock, and Brennan also twirling Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, on his finger by the leather thong. Of course, Mjolnir being the hammer that no one can lift unless they're worthy. And I wanted that idea solidified, that obviously Brennan was worthy. I mean, twirling it around like it's a toy on his finger. I will just say this before I show you the sketch. My idea was even less infused with action and less exciting than what Sergio began to show me as he's showing me preliminary sketches. And I got more and more excited as he began to show these to me. And I'm going to show you a couple of the preliminary sketches right now. So here is, here's the first preliminary sketch and of what he was going to send me. And mine, I had envisioned originally, it's Brennan just kind of standing, kind of with his foot up on, his Thor's helmet laying on the ground, his foot on Thor's helmet, standing there with Thor in a headlock, and Thor not being able to get loose, and Thor and Brennan just kind of twirling Thor's hammer on his finger. And this is what he showed me. He put it in with more action, which was obviously why he's the comic book artist, and I'm not. But I began to get very excited. I was like, yeah, go with that. And I reminded him about, you know, the hammer being on his finger, and he's like, okay, okay. And he did that, and so I was getting very excited, very excited. And then finally came the day when his sketch arrived in the mail, and I was going to show that to you right now, which is really the kind of the whole point of this video. And this is what I got from Sergio Cariello, Brennan versus Thor, and there he even put that on. They're wrestling on the Rainbow Bridge, and so the only way it could have possibly been better, possibly, is if it had been colored. I don't want to think about how much more that would have cost, but I like black and white art. I like original art. I don't have much of it, but I have some of it, as I've shown before, sketch wise. But anyway, so that's what he sent me. Wonderful representation. Look at that. You got Brennan, you know, with Mjolnir on his finger, and Thor struggling to get loose from that headlock. Of course he can't. Brennan's smiling, which is the kind of the attitude and spirit of Brennan. Whenever he loved adventure, he loved combat, and and just using the strength that God gave him. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you. And by the way, Sergio has one of the most ornate signatures I've ever seen. Sergio Cariello. It looks pretty much the same on all of his work. And so anyway, hope you enjoy that. I hope you enjoy seeing that original art, hearing that about Sergio. If you haven't ever heard of Sergio's work, go out and look for it. And I don't think you'll be sorry. But if you have, you know how good he is already. But anyway, hey, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Appreciate just being able to do these videos and share my enjoyment of comic books with others who enjoy them as well. Thanks for watching 4 Color Commentary.